So Adam, what would be your ideal car and what colour would you like it to be?
My favourite car in the world is the Audi R8, and I think I'd have it a like neon orange.
Okay, well I'd want that car from Fast and Furious 2 that's bright pink. I think it's safe to say that the SAS has a reputation of being filled to the brim with hardened badasses. Something that stands in contrast with the fact that during the Gulf War, they used to drive cars that were bright pink.
So going back to the Gulf War then, what was the vehicle of choice for the SAS?
That would be an old-style Land Rover, which is a popular vehicle for all manner of military forces because it's hardy, pretty durable, easy to repair, and can be configured for a number of situations. For example, if it's really hot, you can take the roof off. I don't really know much about cars, I just know that the Land Rover is modular in its design, and you can add or take stuff away from it to create the vehicle you require for that situation. And I'd like to imagine it's like Modern Warfare, where you can make whatever the fuck gun you want, but it's a car. Or maybe it was like Need for Speed, and you could just put like window tint and big spoilers on it. Did you ever play Need for Speed?
Carl, you're really breaking up. It's like...
Oh, I apologise. I'll quit and rejoin in.
Okay.
Look at that. Behind the facts.
Yeah, literally all I'm getting is like a syllable, then you break up, then another syllable.
And you're trying to talk, because I thought you were just interrupting me. Like, Adam, you rude
No, like you go quiet, so I thought you'd finished, and so I'd start talking, then you're like middle of the sentence again. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Okay, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah, it's just hard because I'm literally barely picking you up.
Fuck's sake. So
what was their vehicle of choice then during the Gulf War?
Well, for the SAS, and indeed a lot of British armed forces, it was the old-style Land Rover, which is apparently a great vehicle for a variety of military engagements and situations, because you could customise it to do whatever the fuck you wanted it to. Not to mention it was hardy, reliable, and fairly easy to repair. And I'm now just imagining the SAS before a mission, like Joe, like Need for Speed. You get like the car customisation screen, and just they're going, okay, so we definitely need a fat fucking spoiler on it. Get 20-inch rims, get some spinners on there, put your fucking racing stripe down the middle. You just got the SAS just rocking up. It looks like a Hot Wheels toy, just slamming it sideways, just swerving around and shooting out the window at terrorists.
Whenever you think of a Land Rover during a war, you imagine that like khaki green and like the camo leaves on top.
You do, yes.
So it's just a complete polar opposite.
And we'll get to the reasons for that in a moment. Before that, I just want to discuss that Top Gear special where they drive through the desert.
Yeah,
and
I know.
What's the car Richard Hammond has in that special? You'll probably remember this better than me.
Oh, fucking hell.
Because he gets this a car you would not expect to be anywhere near useful in the fucking desert and drives across a desert in it with no problem, without any sort of customization. He called it Oliver, yeah. That was great. And people might not have seen this special. Like, it's one of many Top Gear challenges that they did. It's, you need to configure a car you bought for like 500 quid to survive in the deepest heart of Africa. And they literally drive across a desert that nobody has ever managed to drive across before. The reason I'm mentioning Richard Hammond specifically is because he does no customization to his car whatsoever because he likes it so much. Yeah. So he drives in just this 30, 40-year-old stock model car across the desert and through the fucking just African bush and has no problem whatsoever. And it's like, what? How ridiculous is this car?
Because the funny part is, like, they go across the salt plains, and doing so, James and Jeremy like start to sink. So they absolutely stripped their cars, like of doors, of seats, everything. And Richard was just sat in his car, just watching them do it.
Yeah, and he just doesn't do anything to his car, and they're driving through the sand, and he just winds his window up. I think my favourite moment in any Top Gear special, though, and I think they do it multiple times, is when they wire the horn up to the brakes.
Oh, fucking
because
does me.
There's just something about like us, and then they just show like James May just every 30 seconds, beep. It's like such a dick move. I kind of love it. Like during that Africa special where they get the pig's head and they're putting it inside James May's tent, and you get Richard Hammond going, "Wait a minute, that's my bag. Oh, this is my tent."
Yeah, because one of my favourites is where they're going on the Middle East. They're on the way to Bethlehem, and as they're going into, I think it's like the Israeli border, they've got something on James's car that says "armed, disarmed," and it starts going off during the border crossing.
Oh, yeah, 'cause he's got an alarm, hasn't he? It's like fucking the balls on those guys to pull shit like that off.
So we go to a border in a tense nation and start saying, armed, disarmed.
Disarmed. In a really shitty car that looks like you bought it for £5 and you wouldn't mind if it blew up. It's like fucking all that. The other ones that we have to mention is the India special, which is is it Eat British Muff?
Yeah, Eat British Muff.
Eat British Muff and it says shit IT or whatever the fuck it is.
Shit IT for your company.
We just need to bring all these up because these are really fun. They're like very in line with what our channel's humour is. Like the one is it Penniston Motors.
Yeah.
They always do. They're always sponsored by Penniston.
Yeah.
So it just says penis on their car. And I can pull back the curtain on the channel a little bit here. When I first incorporated as a business, Big Wangers Incorporated Limited, which is a real company that I own, I was so tempted to go register it on Penniston Road in Sheffield. So it would be Big Wangers Incorporated, owned by Karl Smallwood on Peanistown Road. Anyway, the SAS.
So bringing it back then to the SAS, during the war, like I'm assuming they were given these Land Rovers.
Yes, they were given 72 of them, and they were all painted bright green, and the SAS were told, use these vehicles to just do what you do best, which is stuff that no one is ever allowed to find out about. SAS missions tend to be top secret, but we do know that they were given 72 bright green Land Rovers, which the SAS didn't like, because something that's green in the middle of a desert might as well just have the word shoot here written on it, because they stick out like a sore thumb.
So what happened next?
Well, the SAS stripped that paint off and painted each of the vehicles a shade of shocking pink. And far from being a stylistic choice, pink is noted as being one of the best colours for camouflage in the desert. And that might sound strange, but it really does work, and you have to trust us on this one. And the story goes that this decision was reached when the SAS happened upon a downed plane in the desert from World War II that they had not spotted from a distance. And what they noticed is that the paint on the plane had worn away and given it a pinkish metallic sheen.
Yeah.
That simultaneously reflected just enough of the sun while also absorbing enough of the colour from the sand to make it effectively invisible from a distance. And that made them realise, wow, pink's a really great colour for blending into this specific environment. Even though it sounds counterintuitive. Because if you think pink is pink and a desert is yellow, and there's a lot of seemingly contradictory things like that in camouflage theory. One of my favourite examples being the tiger. When you look at a tiger, what colour is a tiger, Adam?
It's black and orange.
Yeah, it's bright orange and jet black. And they look like they stand out, right? They look so obvious.
Yeah.
And they hide in green undergrowth. And you might think, that sounds fucking ridiculous. How would you not spot a bright orange tiger against a green background? While yes, they do stand out when they're just stood in the open, when they enter the undergrowth, that camouflage is flawless and can result in the tiger seemingly becoming invisible and then emerging from nowhere. And there's a famous clip out there of some people just, I think, on an elephant ride or something like that, and they're just looking down at some grass, and a tiger just jumps out of it, and you never see the tiger. It looks like it's just emerging from nowhere. Like, it looks like it's got predator technology on it, man. It's ridiculous. My favourite example of this in regards to human camouflage, like used by the military and stuff like that, is the camouflage they will use at night. So what would you think the colour they'd use at night would be?
It'll just be like head to toe in black.
The problem with that, though, is that you very seldom encounter pitch black nights. And there is, for the most part, always some source of light, whether it's the moon, the stars, like, stuff in the distance. And as a result, something that's pitch black stands out against the almost pitch black night. So usually it's like dark blue or dark grey is used because as weird as it sounds, jet black stuff stands out at night. And it's really strange to think about that, isn't it? Well, the study's been done and they show this, and it's really funny.
It's just like I'm trying to process like how pink is better camouflage than black.
At night, pink probably wouldn't work as well as night. It's based on the situation. And my knowledge of this, admittedly, is gleaned from Metal Gear Solid, where if you call up Sigim wearing any camouflage, he'll tell you about the history of it. And he talks to you about black camouflage being terrible for nighttime. Yeah, it's not great. It works, but most people would wear a different colour if you want to blend into the night Black's a terrible colour for that because it stands out too much.
It's always me.
It's weird to think, isn't it? At night, black stands out.
It happened to me once.
I think I'm
But you should always wear
cursed.
dark blue or dark grey.
Just completely gone.
You there, Adam? Is he gone?
I'll leave and come back in.
He's gone. Gone, folks. Adam. Oh, is he back?
Just click on.
Yeah, it just went dead, mate.
Okay, no worries. No, did it. And to bring it back to the bright pink Land Rovers that the SAS would drive around during the Gulf War, in addition to that story of a plane from World War II like having its paint sheared off due to the weather and time, they also recall stories about an experimental camouflage for battleships called Mountbatten Pink, which operated in a similar manner where it looks like it stands out up close, but from very far away, which is generally where the enemy's going to be spotting you from, you kind of blend in. And that reminds me a little bit. Have you ever heard of Razzle Dazzle? Or I think it's Razzle Dazzle Camouflage?
No,
You familiar with that
no.
at all? Well, you've got a computer in front of you now, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll have a look.
Type in Razzle Dazzle Camouflage, World War II. It is an experimental camouflage from World War II. And Adam, would you like to describe it to the audience at home?
It's a very, very funky zebra stripes.
Yes. And the idea behind that is, yes, it stands out, but it hides the angles of the ship and hides its true size and even what direction that it's going in. Because if you look at it, it just looks like a mass of just various shapes that don't really make any logical sense.
Yeah, because
And
as I'm
that
looking at the picture, I'm like struggling to like process what's on it.
Yeah, and that's the idea. Like, you can't really tell what shape the ship is or what armaments it has. And that was the thinking of it. Well, battleships are almost impossible to fucking hide anyway. They're so massive. Why not paint them like this? Because at the very least, then the enemy doesn't know what armaments you have. And in warfare, or indeed all combat, the element of surprise is usually a really good thing to have. And I don't think anything surprises an enemy more than encountering just this fleet of ships that just look like weird moving polygons. Like, they look like don't make sense. And I fucking love that shit. And that idea never went anywhere. But it's one of those interesting things from history where it looks stupid, but the psychology and reasoning behind it is actually really sound. And looking at that picture now, Adam, don't you kind of want that on a car?
Oh, yeah. Like,
Can you imagine?
You know, when I said I wanted like a bright orange Audi R8?
Yeah.
I now want a Razzle Dazzle R8.
Just, can you imagine if you get caught by a speed camera, them trying to process what the fuck is going on in the image? They're going to think that the camera's haunted, and it's like something like The Ring. Do you know when you look at photos of people after they watch the haunted tape and their face is all blurred up? They're going to look and go, what is this weird car from another dimension? Like, is Interstellar happening in my office right now? So, what the fuck is this? And I want to see that shit.
Now that I've got that new car, that Audi I bought, I really just want to just go out and just get a Razzle Dazzle
Sorry.
paint job on it. Now.
Coughing. No, what you need to do is you need to do what I... oh, sorry. No, what you need to do with it is get one of those big decals of an anime girl on the side. Because I unironically think that looks awesome. Because it looks so stupid. Because I think it's fucking amazing when you see like a 500 grand Lamborghini and someone just puts a big dumb anime thing on it. And it reminds me of, I think, one of my favourite GIFs from a racing game. I think it's the guy Sunil Legend on Twitter. He makes just really cool GIFs of video games. And there's one of him drifting around a corner on like Brands Hatch in a Gran Turismo game or something. But he's customised his car to just have a big fucking dumb anime vinyl on it. just slamming it sideways around a corner. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. And I want to see the SAS do that. Oh, that'd be great. Because have you played Modern Warfare at all?
In the past, yeah.
Okay, well, the newest Modern Warfare, you can get like skins for your guns.
Yeah.
And one of the skins you can get is just an anime skin. And it just puts a big dumb anime girl on the side of your gun and makes it bright pink. It's just like the weeb cannon. And I want to see that on everything now. I want to see why just warfare just turns into this like just horrible nihilistic nightmare where just everything is now sponsored and just like everything is memes.
It's
The world is just
Fortnite,
a nightmare. Yeah. Just turn regular combat into Fortnite and maybe we'll realise that war is pointless. But before we finish this video, I need to just say one thing, and that is the name that was given to the special pink Land Rovers. And Adam, would you like to guess what they called them?
Oh, it's going to be like Betty or something.
No, they called them the Pink Panthers. Because they were pink.
You cut off there, I didn't hear the
sorry.
punchline.
They called them, Adam, the Pink Panthers.
Oh, for God's sake.
So they were driving around in little cars called Pink Panthers. And that's kind of cool.
They're so manly.
Yeah, but also it's little Pink Panther. I hope as well, when they rev the engine, it's made a growling noise. Rawr. Do it. Perfect. That one a bit long in the tooth. I'll start and stop on that one. I apologise for whoever fucking edits this one. So Adam, you mentioned at the start you would like a bright orange car, yes? Is there any reason you want to have a bright orange car?
Well, that's my favourite colour and it's my favourite car, so putting them together. But then, as I said that, I thought, didn't Tony Stark have that in, like, all the Marvel films?
He might have done. I think he had a red one. He had like a cherry red, like hot rod red. Maybe.
Nisha's nodding.
Oh, so he has an orange one. Okay, well, sure, there'll be a picture behind me.
He's got my dream car.
Proving who's right. So you want Tony Stark's car. See, if I was going to...
I am now Tony Stark.
I could get a car in any colour. I'd want that Vanta Black. You ever seen that? The special,
Which one? Vanta Black?
Vanta Black. Type it on your computer now, but I'll describe it for people at home. It is a special kind of paint that absorbs 99.99% of all light, meaning that you cannot make out the shape or the definition of any object, and it just looks like a hole in time. So have you got a picture of it up now, Adam?
Yeah, I've got a BMW, and yeah, I see what you mean. You cannot see any details.
It looks like you've not unlocked your car yet. It looks like you're on the select screen of life. When you go to your garage, oh man, I've not unlocked my car yet. I need to
You've
do
not
that.
won 10 races.
It's like, yeah, I need to go fucking pink slip TK and juice to get his car. So good. I want to see that. Because can you imagine if they got a picture of that and a speed camera? And it look because if you're looking at pictures of Vanta Black stuff now, it looks like you just badly photoshopped it out and didn't fill in the area. Imagine seeing cars driving around where it just looks like a mistake and it's coming towards you like, what is this? I don't know what to do.
It's just reminding me of something though, because in Formula One, before they actually get into the season, they have pre-season testing.
Okay.
And tradition is that's where the teams reveal the cars, and a few times they'll just have their cars in that colour, so other teams can't see the detail. What aerodynamics have gone for.
Oh, so they can't steal ideas or notice what they're doing.
So they have Vanta Black cars, just so no one can pick out what they've done differently.
I want that. I want cars, but I think it'd be really dangerous. Same with stuff like Razzle Dazzle Camouflage, where it's just, you can't have it. It's too dangerous. It messes with your eyes.
That Razzle Dazzle one really did. I was staring at it. I couldn't pick out guns or anything.
Yeah, it's really counterintuitive. You think it makes it stand out more, but standing out more doesn't really help if you can't tell what the thing is you're looking at.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. And there's loads of experimental stuff, right, from World War II, where they toyed around with ideas like that and they just never really went anywhere. There's the Pykrete submarine or battleship. Have you ever heard about that?
The which one, sorry?
The Pykrete battleship. You familiar with that?
Pykrete battleship?
Yeah. Well, Pykrete...
no, I've not heard of that one.
It is a material made by getting sawdust or wood shavings. You soak it in water, and then you freeze it. And that sounds like a fairly simple material, correct?
Oh yeah, I was waiting for the rest of the recipe.
No, it's that. It is bulletproof, bomb-proof. You can set it on fire, and it doesn't melt or burn. It floats. It's cheap, because it's just fucking wood pulp and water. And there were plans during World War II to make a battleship out of it, because it's almost indestructible as far as standard munitions are considered, and it's just made out of wood. And the story goes that they sold Winston Churchill on the benefits of the material by throwing a block of it in his bath. And it just floated, and apparently Winston Churchill played with it for about an hour, and it still stayed there.
Is that just like the Prime Minister's version of a rubber duck?
It might have been, yeah, just like a Pykrete battleship. And that's one of those ideas that they had, and it never went anywhere. And it sounds stupid until you see the videos online of people like, okay, here's Pykrete, here's a grenade. And it doesn't do anything. It's like, yeah, here's bulletproof metal that cost $1 billion to make. Oh, it's dead.
Yeah.
So maybe make battleships out of this shit. And there was another one where they wanted to make a triangle-shaped battleship. Oh, no, sorry, a circular battleship. So you couldn't tell which direction it was going in, but they couldn't figure out a way to steer it, which I thought was really funny. And then the number one with a bullet, though, is the Meteor and the Schlab, I think, which is German for swallow, if you're all familiar with those. So
I've heard.
So what they were jet planes. They were jet planes during World War II. So they were modern jets that they could not be touched. And there is expert opinion that they could have turned the tide of the war for the Germans if they'd have used them as fighters. because they were so fast, nothing could catch them. They literally, if you were, like pilots in tests would just accelerate and they could go so fast that nothing could hit them. And instead of turning them into fighters that would go so fast, nothing could touch them, Hitler wanted to use them as bombers. But they went so fast that they couldn't drop bombs accurately. And you look at stuff like that and go, fucking hell, that's crazy to think they had that in World War II.
Just if they played the cards right, how different it could have been.
Oh man, there's loads of crazy bullshit like that. I think the Germans had a night vision scope. They had a night vision scope during World War II, which would have revolutionised night combat, but they never put any money into it. They had mine-sweeping robots. They had jetpacks. They had plans to put lasers on the moon and all sorts of bullshit. They never really thought, oh, this is a good idea. But that one always cracks me up with like, oh yeah, you have the fastest plane in the world at your disposal, and every single one of your fighting aces is telling you, use it as a fighter, it's unstoppable. No, drop bombs.
Yeah. It's so bad. It's just bad leadership.
And the Allies, apparently, they were so scared of them, they just strafed them on the runway. So if they saw one from the sky, they just strafe it. It's like, it doesn't matter. Because if that thing gets off the ground, we're done. And Hitler saw that and went, yeah, let's use them as bombers. Like, no, you fucking idiot.
No. Well, we were there like, yeah, do that.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, what a great idea. Have you ever heard the story about, I think it was Winston Churchill might have been the one who poo-pooed the idea of assassinating Hitler? When someone approached and said, we can assassinate Hitler, and said, why? He's shit at his job. If we assassinate him, we run the risk of someone who's competent taking charge.
Oh dear.
I don't think anything sums up World War II more than say we could assassinate Hitler, but what's the point? He's shit anyway, we're going to win. It's like, oh yeah.
That just literally is the most British thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, we're gonna, he's shit at his job. Like, we run the risk of someone competent taking charge if we kill him. It's great. And now I can't wait for all the wearaboos in the comments to correct me on that, so fuck you.